Being on CrossroadsToday.com, we are following a tropical storm hitting South Texas. We have the latest details. And Fernando Acosta Jr. has a new court date in the murder case of Amanda Johnson. Plus, wildfires hitting multiple states out in the west. We take a look at those recovery efforts.
Well, obviously, Alberto is finally affecting everybody. We've had about an inch of rain here in Victoria, but just to the south of us, it's been much stronger than that. In fact, but the bulk of the rain is now moving inland, headed toward the Rio Grande. The storm itself is still off the coast, but we'll have all the latest coming up in a moment.
And a manhunt continues in Oklahoma following the murder of 2 people. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Today is an alert day. Victoria has declared a disaster declaration. So let's toss it over to the weather wall with our chief meteorologist, Mac Metis.
Thank you very much. It was slow in coming, but it sure did arrive this afternoon. As you can see, we continue under a tropical storm warning because not only the rain, but the winds and the surf and everything along the ocean front. We have now the expectation of heavy rains inland areas, so we're going to start picking up some flooding. The beginning of it, folks, is going to be through the night into tomorrow, before tomorrow afternoon, when it starts to break up a little bit. But in the meantime, if you can avoid travel, it's probably a good idea. We're going to have a lot of rising rivers and streams in our area. And of course, the coastal areas, well, they've had much more rain to the south of us down in Refugio County. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. Our very own reporter, Darius McCormick, actually feeling the storm firsthand, and he's there at Port Lavaca. Darius, how does it look like out there?
We're doing things a little unorthodox. I already lost my glasses. I'm here at Magnolia Beach, and there's a whole lot of heavy rain and now a lot of flooding. I'm currently in the bay, and you can't even tell where Magnolia Beach ends and the bay begins. If you want to take a look here, this is the water here, and this is where the beach is. I'm literally standing on the beach, and you cannot see anything from the flooding. The water is almost to the road up there. It's getting a little bit better from what I heard from a fisherman just a few seconds ago. So we had some rains. On my way here, I seen a little rain. It's in and out, but the flooding is still consistent. It's pretty high. So hopefully this will be down a little bit by 6 o'clock. Sending it back to you guys, reporting live in Magnolia Beach. I'm Darius McCormick, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Darius, thank you so much. Be careful out there. This is going to bring us to your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen to vote. The question is, are you experiencing flooding? Yes or no? Come to CrossroadsToday.com/vote to take part. And of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Now, Tropical Storm Alberto is beginning to batter the Gulf Coast right here in Texas. On North Padre Island, some people have been forced from their homes. Residents are taking extra steps of precaution based on the early storm damage. Weather in the area is expected to get more severe through Thursday morning.
Who told the ocean they could come in this far? You know?
Yeah, I woke up at 5:30 because just the rain was hitting. So I opened the blinds and I was like, the ocean looks closer. And so I woke him up and then he looked, he was like, yep, it's right there. It was hard. It was hard to walk in, especially down this stretch. The current, you could feel it.
We're seeing a lot of houses being trapped in. We're unable to access them alone, so we are currently working with the fire department. We're going to stage at the fire department if we're going that way, and they're going to try to drive through the water and get us to whoever needs help. So far, everyone's seeming pretty lucky.
Forecasters expect the storm to weaken rapidly once the center moves inland and will likely move over Mexico late Thursday. Now, over in Nueces County, storm preparations are underway. Crews provided sandbags to residents ahead of the heavy rain. People were able to pick up the sandbags until 8 p.m. tonight on Tuesday at the Drainage District facility over in Robstown. The sandbags were free for those living in Robstown and those in the western area of Nueces County. Each car was able to get up to 4 sandbags. County officials are optimistic about the drainage system and are working to ensure residents what the community can do when they come together.
What we want the community to know is that in any type of event where we come together here, and that's what it's about. The city, the county, the drainage district, all the entities come together for our people, and that's what we're here to do.
After the main storm exits the region, showers and thunderstorms are expected to forecast and linger into the weekend. And that tropical storm is going to keep making headlines as intense record high temperatures fuel wildfires out in the west. Much of the country affected by extreme weather right now.
Heavy rains, coastal flooding, and damaging winds lashing the Texas coast as Tropical Storm Alberto formed in the Gulf of Mexico. In Galveston, Texas, water up to the seawall covering what should be the beach sand.
I didn't know that the beach starts usually way further up, but the waves are coming in.
The National Hurricane Center predicting the first named storm of the season will move inland over northeastern Mexico by Thursday morning. But it's those outer bands you can see are already affecting Texas. ABC's Melissa Adon is in Corpus Christi.
This is one of the marinas and the docks here along Corpus. It's flooded, all the storm surge pushing in. We see kind of a sailboat there on the side. Barely one of these boats hanging on by one of their ropes.
It's not the rain, but a brutal heat wave that has people sweltering from the Midwest to the Northeast. From Michigan to Maine, temperatures soaring into the upper 90s to low 100s. Beaches, a popular place for people looking for relief, like Carson Beach in South Boston. And from the air, you can see people cooling off in Lake Michigan in Chicago. Meantime, hot, dry conditions keeping those wildfires going in the Southwest. In New Mexico, thousands have been evacuated as the South Fork and Salt fires burn over 20,000 acres, destroying nearly 1,500 structures. At least one person has died. Back now to Alberto. The storm is forecast to make landfall in Mexico overnight, but the storm surge will still be an issue from Galveston to Corpus Christi, Texas. Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
A pre-trial hearing for the man accused in the Amanda Johnson murder case, Fernando Acosta Jr., comes Thursday in the Matagorda County Courthouse. Acosta turned himself into the Matagorda County Jail and is now out on bond. His bond was set at $500,000. Back on Sunday of April 18th of 2021, the Matagorda County Sheriff's Office found human remains inside a burned out 2018 Ford Explorer. They confirmed the remains to be of Amanda Johnson. Now, an Alabama man accused of killing 3 people in Oklahoma was last seen at a motel in Arkansas. That's according to state police there. On Tuesday night, Stacey Lee Drake killed a man and a woman near a gas station on Highway 64. Law enforcement believes the 2 bodies were found inside a business. Arkansas State Police wrote in a news release that Drake killed 3 people in Oklahoma in 2 separate carjackings. One of the vehicles Drake was linked to was found at a motel nearby. Now here's a look at some of the top headlines you can find in the Cuero Record. Adam Arroyo now appointed to the Cuero City Council at-large seat. Plus, the Cuero class of 1987 gets ready for a class reunion. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. The White House cancels a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Straight ahead on 25 News Now 5, the reason why. So ahead, we take a moment to honor the grandmother of Juneteenth on this national holiday. The surviving son of disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh is suing multiple media companies for defamation. The 8 defendants named in the lawsuit include Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery. Buster Murdaugh claims several documentaries falsely suggest he might be responsible for the 2015 death of a former classmate, that's 19-year-old Stephen Smith, who was found dead along a stretch of road in Hampton County in South Carolina. The death is being investigated as a homicide. His father, Alex Murdaugh, is serving a life sentence for the 2021 shooting deaths of his wife and younger son. A high-level Israel-U.S. meeting on Iran, originally set for Thursday, now canceled. The cancellation comes after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released a video accusing the U.S. of withholding military aid from Israel. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says only one shipment of heavy bombs is on hold. He says the U.S. still reviewing that shipment because of concerns about the weapon's potential use. Meanwhile, a meeting between U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and his Israeli counterpart will take place. Netanyahu is still scheduled to address Congress next month. A U.S. soldier detained in Russia now sentenced for theft and threatening murder. Russian state news says U.S. Staff Sergeant Gordon Black is sentenced to nearly 4 years in Russian prison. Russian authorities arrested Black just last month. He had traveled to Russia to visit a woman believed to be his girlfriend at the time. Black was accused of stealing a little over $100 from the woman. He's also accused of assaulting her. State media reports Black partially admitted to the theft, but not to the charges of threatening to kill the woman. The lawyer said Wednesday Black will appeal, and now the U.S. government has warned American citizens not to travel to Russia anytime soon. And now it's Juneteenth. It's a time to celebrate the freedom of African Americans from slavery. But still to this day, many injustices still persist, like those in our healthcare system.
It's a day to commemorate the end of slavery in the U.S. by promoting African American history and culture, but there's still work to be done.
While we celebrate freedom as part of Juneteenth, we also recognize that that freedom was not full.
Dr. Dina Chisholm works to improve health equity at Nationwide Children's Hospital. She says many diseases disproportionately affect people who are Black. In the U.S., Black infants die before their first birthday at higher rates than white infants. Black women die during or soon after pregnancy more often than white women, and the life expectancy for the Black population is significantly less.
There are differences by population in access to education and access to health care and access to insurance and access to the educational tools that you need to be able to use all of those resources. Those are what are driving many of the disparities that we see today.
To achieve health equity, Chisholm says 2 things need to happen. First, get support to the people who need it. That involves healthcare related social needs like proper nutrition and safe housing. Then act on those social needs at a community level.
How are we making policies in our society that maximize people's access to high quality education and high quality food and good jobs? Because it's not just about addressing the needs of each individual. It's really about creating a community, a society, a nation where everyone has access to what they need to be healthiest in their lives.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca wave. The Port Lavaca City Council approved a plan for a new speedy stop and reappointed several board members. Plus, Calhoun County Commissioners approved an engineering agreement. Plus, we also celebrate 50 years of Juneteenth festivals. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Now, for the first time, West Texas has a permanent LGBTQ+ community center. You can read this article by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Now, she's considered the grandmother of Juneteenth, and today Miss Opal Lee walked 2.5 miles to commemorate the 2.5 years it took for the last enslaved people to learn they were finally free in Texas.
There's one thing clear about Miss Opal Lee. Even if you don't know who she is, you'll see.
Good morning, young people.
She's still got it.
You're all young people if you're not 97.
For decades, the Texas native pushed for the U.S. to recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday to commemorate the final enslaved people in Texas learning that they were free. It took 2.5 years for the news to arrive following the Emancipation Proclamation. And today, at the African American Museum of Dallas, Ms. Opal completed the annual 2.5-mile walk, recognizing that final moment of liberation.
July the 4th freed the land. Juneteenth freed the people. Don't you forget it.
Ms. Opal's resolve isn't just about ancestry. She and her family had a home in Fort Worth for 85 years until they were driven out by a racist white mob. She recently returned to the lot where that home once stood and where her new home was sold to her for just $10. So on this Juneteenth holiday that she helped make official, we're reminded not just of the history lessons learned.
Hello, young people.
The centuries-long effort to liberate this country of its darkest chapter, we're also reminded of the work ahead and of those moving forward for a brighter future, step by step.
Let me leave this with you. I want you to make yourself a committee of one to change somebody's mind.
Miss Opal Lee was recognized last month with the highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Live camera here, you can see is still coming down. As a matter of fact, we've got a couple of more heavy bands to come through, so it is not over with. We're just coming up to the peak of it right now. 77 currently the temperature. Our high was only 78 because obviously the cloud cover and the rain. So far officially at the airport, we've had 134. At Riverside Park, we've had 1.6, but areas south of us have really gotten a lot more than that. We'll talk about what to expect for the next few days coming up in a moment.
This is a severe weather alert from the 25 News Now First Warn Storm Team.
Well, good evening, folks. We got a lot to talk about. Here's the alert day we told you about. Now, here we still expect the 3 to 7 inches of rain. And of course, coastal winds are going to be rather blustery. Now, this is for today and tomorrow. The crossroads and all of the Texas coast is under the effects of Alberto, and Alberto is 300 miles from here. It's just weird. Anyway, the low water crossings will be a main risk going through tonight into tomorrow morning. You live out on county roads, consider that if they usually flood, then that's probably going to happen again tonight. So either wait till sunrise or don't do driving around late at night in this wind and rain. Now, the winds are still going to be strong, but coastal flooding has been the huge problem with the tides excessively high. As Adarius was showing you, it's probably about a 2.5-foot tide already. And therefore, if it goes any higher, we're going to start doing the coastal flooding along the coast. Now, here is Victoria. You can see the heavy storm right there, which is in the orange or the yellow, right? But watch this. You move upstream and you've got this thunderstorm and this thunderstorm, and these are coming into our area. And if we've already had an inch and a half, we're probably going to wind up with 3 or 4 inches by tomorrow morning. So the main band of Alberto is now moving ashore, even though Alberto's still very far south. Nonetheless, we've had all kinds of problems around the coastal bend. The wind, the surf, the high tides are excessively high, so anybody along the coastal water needs to be very careful. We do still have the tropical storm warning for the coastal counties. That may be dropped by tomorrow, but it's still a concern. And of course, all of those inland areas that you see right here, these are all under flood watch. So that's all of Victoria County. We're under a flood watch, so do be careful. And this is what's in the dark green is a coastal flood advisory, because it'd be ocean water coming up in addition to the rain. Bottom line, it doesn't matter where it came from. Do be cautious if you're driving around. Now, the rainfall totals have been quite impressive. As you can see, we're about 1.5 inches here, but all along from, I don't know if you saw about Seaside, up there along the coast, they really had a surge problem, and all these counties had in the 3 to 4 inch range right along the immediate water's edge. And so obviously down here in Rockport, they had 3 and 4 inches already, and it's not over with just yet. It's just getting going, as they like to say, or I like to say. Well, there you see the bands coming ashore. We are going to see now more discrete thunder showers. In other words, it's not a huge band. It's going to be isolated pockets of heavy downpours. So there'll be a slight let up for some. It'll be even worse for others, if you catch my drift. It'd be more spotty, stormy weather coming through. Now, we take a look at the big picture, and where is Alberto? Right about here. I mean, 300 miles away, yet the broad area of low pressure that is represented by it is sweeping everything onto the shore. That's why we've been having these problems. Now, of course, flooding is not a good thing, but river water, or rather full lakes and full rivers, is a good thing, and this is going to be a good thing. 70% tomorrow, then 50, then down a little bit on a break for Saturday. It'll be like this. It'll be sunny, steamy, and then every now and then you'll see a couple of pop-up showers, and that's because we're going to continue that all the way through the weekend. So light rain to thunder showers, depending on where you're standing, for most of tomorrow, okay? And then most of tomorrow in Cuero, you're going to be looking at isolated thunderstorms. So again, we have the alert day for tomorrow and Friday when it starts to decrease, and then a little bit of a break over the weekend, but then tropical showers will continue across the crossroads right on through the early part of next week. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone, and we'll toss it back to Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we are going to not take a look at your stocks. It's a national holiday, but Southwest Airlines is selling tickets for just $53. Those details next. Approved a multi-million-dollar arms sale to Taiwan. The sale was approved for drones and missiles that are worth a little over $360 million combined. In a statement, Taiwan's presidential office expressed gratitude to the U.S. security. This is Biden administration's 15th weapons sale to the island since 2021. United States arms sales to Taiwan occur on a regular basis as part of the U.S. legal obligation to provide defense capabilities, despite the lack of formal diplomatic ties. Now, Southwest Airlines is celebrating its birthday with a special gift for 30 travelers. The carrier has $53 airfares in honor of its 53rd year in operation. The one-way tickets include trips to Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and some international locations. But this deal is only available on certain dates. The $53 tickets have to be scheduled between Mondays and Thursdays or Saturdays between August 6th and December 18th. Travelers who want to snag a deal will have to act quickly. The limited time promotion ends just before midnight Pacific time come Thursday. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast with Mac when we come back. Plus, cool off with a milkshake because that's tomorrow. And here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, all eyes are on the record-breaking dangerous heat. Why it's getting so hot so soon. Plus, bracing for more major Supreme Court decisions. More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
While many Americans are suffering from a record early heat wave, the calendar gives us a chance to finally cool off. That's because Thursday is National Vanilla Milkshake Day. Every year on June 20th, the flavor that serves as the base for most milkshakes is honored. And surprisingly, milkshakes got their start as an alcoholic drink. The first reference in print was in 1885, and it featured a concoction made of cream, eggs, and whiskey. But that all changed in the early 1900s. Vanilla ice cream was added to the now wholesome drink. Did you know that it was a first?
I didn't know,
alcoholic?
but you know, I don't believe you. I'd like to try one to see if it's for real. I mean, I think you're just making this up.
Have you ever had like a, what's it called, a dirty root beer? You know, what's it called when they put the ice cream in the root beer?
A float.
A float. Have you ever had a dirty float? It's like they put a shot in it as well. I'm imagining it's something like that.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do some research
For a
myself.
sunny day.
For a sunny day.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. But you know what? The heat wave left us and went to the East Coast, and we've got all the tropical stuff, folks, that we're just beginning. The alert days we've been telling you about for a few days. The rain will be heavy overnight, and tomorrow morning we may have more flooding issues to deal with. So just consider that. We call it an alert day through Friday, when additional showers will be more isolated, but still on the wet side.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac, and thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.